Welcome to Mic'd Medicated. And we are so excited to be back together on the couch in our summer studio. It's been
a while. It's been like over a month that we've been just alone.
right. I feel like we keep having guests, which we love, but it's nice to just be
It's
the
nice
two
to
of
be
us.
back in bed, just you and I, and we could be just ugly and like casual and not put on a show. That's what it feels like,
Yes.
right? Like my retainer's in, and
Yes.
I'm wearing ugly pajamas with a hole in it. Versus when we have guests, it's a whole thing. It's like you're sleeping like you're on your third date.
It's funny though, because
Even though it felt comfortable.
Right. You talked about how it's so nice to feel comfortable, but this episode that we're going to talk about is about maybe how it's important to reflect and get outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely been somebody who I've never lived anywhere besides New York City. I am a creature of motherfucking habit. Okay. I live a block from, like where I grew up. I go to the same fucking restaurant I celebrated my second birthday. Like, girl, do something different. And I'm feeling it. And and we're going to get so woo woo on you. That you guys are just going to be like, is this the Mic'd Medicated podcast? Like, what did they medicate with today? And, but there is a cosmic shift happening. So I think when I'm feeling for the first time, I want to make a change. It's real.
Yeah. In fact, I brought my computer just so we could share the context. We are in a 6-planet alignment right now. So this is very
I feel like
rare.
You're Miss Frizzle right now. Like, because you're like, we're about to go on the 6-planet alignment.
Yes,
Here, are you ready?
Right. We're going to take the bus to outer space. Everybody put your seatbelts on. But
Ooh, Arnold. Sorry.
But actually, we are in what they're calling a planetary parade, where 6 planets are visible in the morning sky in one single stretch. And really what that means is all of these planets are in retrograde at the same time, which means they are moving backwards. And this celestial event is not only rare, but it signifies...
Is Mercury in your anus? Sorry.
But it signifies a shift towards themes of community, inner healing, spirituality, and I learned about these specific 6.
There are 6 planets right now that are retrograding. So usually you hear people be like, "Oh, Mercury's in retrograde," whereas my husband would be like, "What are you being weird today? Because Mercury's in your anus," which is really, he does say that.
But this is like really cool. Mercury being in retrograde means that like you're having communication and flow issues.
But explain what happens when you have right now. We have 6 planets are in retrograde.
That's what I just said.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. And so retrograde is, just for those who don't know, is a period when planets appear to be moving backwards. And it's also a time for reflection, introspection, pausing and reviewing aspects of your life, and sometimes memories returning. So I think what Caroline and I are feeling, or what we thought was just like, wow, we're both having this sort of period of intense, like, a scrutiny of like, who are we? What kind of lives do we want to live? Like, are we constantly evaluating and aspiring and living in the fullest, best, most meaningful way? Isn't just random. It's actually because of this planetary
So it's not just because
parade.
Mondani is about to ruin New York City.
Well, but I think all these factors come together, but they wouldn't feel so intense if we weren't in this
True. It feels
celestial
real.
event.
Right. And I think you also had, when you listened to this podcast with Agnes, a philosopher, I forget her last name.
Oh, I love
Agnes Keller?
Yeah, Agnes Callard. And for those of you who don't listen to Barry Weiss, we're going to plug her because she is so amazing.
She definitely needs our plugging.
I am completely dedicated to her. But she interviewed this woman who is a philosophy professor at the University of Chicago, and she has this insane story. But the upshot is that she and her ex-husband and 2 children from her ex-husband and her new husband and 3rd child all live in one home. And her ex-husband and her current husband are all philosophy professors at the University of Chicago.
Sounds like they have some fun parties. I'm just kidding. What was that, Socrates?
Yeah, exactly. And no, but she talks about, and she studied, and I think even wrote a book on aspiration, and how it's this notion of like always looking to acquire new values and always looking to evolve and grow as a person.
Is she talks about how in life you have invitations, and they're not like a, dinner party, because don't invite us, we don't like parties. But like maybe right now in this celestial shift, it's New York is like kind of in a shithole, right? It's not great. So, and my parents live in Florida, and like they're, getting older, and I want to spend more time with them. Like there's this opportunity potentially to make a big change. And do we take that invitation?
Right. And I think throughout your life, you have these invitations, these opportunities, but if you're not open to them, you miss them or you may resist them even. And I think that this episode is really about exploring, how to live a life where you're not living life like you know how to live it, but you're living it like you're continuing to figure out how to live life.
And I think as someone who lives where they grew up, and, their kids go to similar schools, or the same school that I went to, and I live close to where I grew up, there is this, oh my God, am I even questioning anything? Like, am I trying to figure out my life, or am I just doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right. And I think, look, it's very easy to live a passive life if you are not constantly reevaluating. That said, it can be very torturous for yourself and your partner if you're constantly evaluating, are we doing the right thing? Should we be moving? Should we be reevaluating how many kids we have? Should we be, renovating, whatever it might be? But I do think that I, for one, am always looking to learn and grow and evolve. And I think that I maybe historically wasn't open to new opportunities, but I feel like throughout this journey of building this podcast, I've become more aware and open to signs from the universe and to my
And
feelings.
so, like, what, right, doesn't feel right. I think you were kind of the person who you would look to one expert or this or that, and like almost like you would diagnose something, or this is what I have to do, versus, okay, what, yeah, it might be illogical, but it's what I'm feeling, and it might be challenging, but it's what I want to do. And I think that that's sort of where we are. I mean, I think our husbands both are like, are you insane? Like, you want to just uproot us, or you now want to change everything that we've been doing? And it's like, yeah, but we can't explain it.
Right. Look, I think I'm a little behind you in the moving, and I think for
My
you,
husband's not for, like, does not think I'm real. Like, I'm being serious.
right. But I do think like life is short, and if you don't think and planfully, manage your time in terms of who you spend it, where you spend it, and how you spend it, you could all of a sudden realize that like your life passed you by and it was a very passive, sort
Like
of
a
like
zombie
you were
existence.
experiencing it versus you were proactively determining it. And I think what we're saying is we're at this place, and it's just crazy that our universe is telling us to do this right now, where we want to pause and reflect and make sure, are we living the optimal life? Like, is there a better way to do it? Why are we raising our kids in Manhattan just because you did or my husband did? Is
Right.
that the best thing for our family? And I think to your point, like the backdrop of New York City is like another motivator to have this
Well, it's like an
conversation.
invitation, right? Like, if New York City was in the prime and everything was amazing, I don't think I would be sitting here talking about this shift that I'm feeling, because it would be very hard to want to leave it.
I don't know, but we
Or maybe I
also,
would be.
to be honest, like you have raised your children and been very focused on their, well-being and managing the home so that your husband can sort of like go to work with peace of mind that everything's being taken care of. And this is the first time where you're sending your daughter off to kindergarten in September. Can't believe it. And you're going to have more headspace, and you're starting to be a little less selfless in terms of like doing things for yourself that fill your own tank
Right.
in terms of building a career. And so I do think like this is also stirring up like how like these questions, because before you were just like in this dense, thick, keeping everyone alive period, and now you've
Right.
got like you can take a breath. And I also think like sending your kids to school is just like there are these milestones in life, whether it's getting married, whether it's having children, whether it's your kids going off to school or then college, where or a parent getting sick or whatever it might be, where you sort of have a natural like pause and ability to either, to your point, like be open to the possibility of something different and better, and be open to like reviewing that maybe life isn't going the way it should or you want it to, or you can just sort of ignore it and keep working on autopilot.
Right. And I think now, because I also spent so much time with my kids and I had more control. I mean, I still have the control as they're little. It is, I am in tune with them in the sense where, I don't want that. They are going to be prone to anxiety because I am. And New York City is a very anxious, provoking place. And it's, I'm like, maybe I want them to be more children. And I think because she's going to kindergarten, I am realizing how fast growing up is and how in a second they're already like she seems like a little preteen. I want to prolong that. Like, I want her to play more and not be so cynical so fast and be such a grown up. And I think in order to survive in New York, you have to have your wits about you. You see a lot and you just have a lot less playing. And just, and something where like Florida, like obviously it's my parents are there. And I think that's also a huge part of childhood is having them around. And I spend time with them in the summer. So I see that. And yeah, and I'm also I'm scared. I'm scared of losing control. I'm scared of them also being so obsessed with technology. Like I get to see firsthand because you sort of have you have kids that are obviously older. You're almost going to be an empty nester with only one left, but it's very hard. It's very different than it was when I was growing up. And you are not only competing with New York City being just filled with a tremendous amount of wealth and crazy stuff, but you also have these devices that you're competing with. And the more you have a kid who's inside, like it being in an apartment, the more you're going to want to be on those things. Like I feel like when it's sunny out and it's warm, you're just don't want to be indoors,
Totally. I mean, I think, but that's where I also feel like, and this is, I don't know how to solve this, but you also have to recognize that you might, like, the grass isn't always greener, like we say,
100% because it's
and
fucking fake.
and you might go to a different environment and realize, well, we're the same grownups and we've got the same children and technology exists here, and you're probably going to move to a community where there's a lot of affluence. So it's hard to, make sure you're being clear-eyed about like what the trade-offs are. And with every new circumstance and new relationship comes a new set of problems. So nothing's perfect, but I do think you put your finger on something, and it's something that I like started to lament a little during COVID with my boys, is that New York City is not conducive to like outdoor activity.
Mhm.
I mean, Central Park is amazing. And when your kids are little, you're in Central Park all the time. And as an adult, I take advantage of it and I run and I walk. But I think those sort of preteen, teen years, kids generally aren't like going to the playground. Or if they're going to Central Park, it's maybe not for a good reason.
Right.
And so I do think like you have to, I don't know, it's foreign to me. I grew up in the burbs, but you have to get on a bus to drive to Randall's Island to play sports after school, depending on what school you go to. So I do think there are trade-offs, but then again, like you might have a lot more access to sports in the burbs, but then your kids, you could argue, can't on a Saturday,
Well, I don't want to
go
move
to
to
the
the burbs because the
museum
burbs would
or,
literally, well, do my kids really do that anyway?
well, I would agree with
Right.
you.
I mean, look, I don't want to
Or
live in the
they
suburbs.
won't build like your kids. There's a reason why you go to college and you're like, oh, those kids grew up in the city, because there's a sophistication and a savvy. And I think you could put a value assignment to that. And that's something you get in New York City because you're navigating the streets and you're just, like you said, having to be aware, and you
Mhm.
become more sort of just able to manage day-to-day life in a way that you don't have to when you're being shuttled by your parents in a carpool. But that said, there's also a cynicism that comes with that.
Right. And I also think because of social media, the world is just so much bigger and scarier already for them that it's almost like an overload for me. Like being in New York with the TikTok, with the this, with the that, it's just like holy shit. It's a lot of skills for them to navigate. But also like I guess I love the playground. I love Central Park. I love the reservoir. But if New York City becomes like this unsafe place where like we have less cops and there's a lot of crime, and then all the things that make New York City amazing are going to disappear. And that's scary because like I'm not going to just be in New York so I'm in my apartment and going to school.
Right. But I guess I would answer
I guess
two
that's
things
different
you
than
said.
feeling a shift. Yeah.
Right. Like the one part is I think technology is like ubiquitous. Like I don't think there's any corner of the earth
100%.
you're going to go to where you're not going to be battling your kid for technology. I agree with you. If you have like a tennis court and a pool on your property and you live somewhere that's warm 365 days a year and your kids like those activities, like you probably have a better
I
shot
just
of
don't want my
getting them
daughter to have ugly
outside.
skin.
But the second piece of what you said is like, I think we have to wait and see what happens in New York. I'm not encouraged by where we're at, but I also feel like, my husband will say growing up in the city, it was a rite of passage to be mugged. Like, so I, you know, a city is a city, and I think we have to wait and see how bad it gets. But I feel like this planetary shift is also making me think about, how do I want to live? Like how much stuff I want to have. I feel like for a while now I've started to want to pare down,
Yeah, but you need to still look
live.
hot and have like a hot wardrobe. So I get it, but like don't get too crazy on me.
I know, but don't you feel like the elegance of a simple life, like being able to sort of
I'm not a
get
simpleton.
down to the basics? See, I don't
No,
see
I
it
don't want
as
to wear
being a
basic.
simpleton. I see it as clearing my head, decluttering my mind and my schedule so I can focus on the things that really matter.
Well, that's what I feel too. Is I feel like New York City makes it almost impossible
It's
to quiet your
really
mind.
hard. Yes.
And I'm someone who really is affected by the weather and by sunshine. I think with summer ending, and I've been lucky enough to spend my summer not in New York City and near a beach and near a pool. And I'm just like really fucking happy.
But remember, you could also be that meme, the person sitting on the lounge chair at the pool the last day of the vacation, searching Zillow
That's
for
true.
apartments to buy. Like, so maybe
Yes.
also, like, not only is there a huge planetary shift, and I actually am
But this
curious,
just
and
feels different for me. I don't know.
right. Well, I was going to say, like, this is real, all of this reflection and feeling like we need something different because it's actually happening in our, world, not to be woo woo. But I'm wondering also if it's not, with summer coming to a close, like, the passage of time, like I feel it more acutely this summer, like all time went the fastest any summer has gone, and it's only going to continue that way. And life is precious. And I recently went to a funeral, and
You
I know
love those funerals.
I really do. And we honored the life of a friend of mine and my husband's father, who really just leaned into life. He was active, he was present, he made the most of every minute, he paid it forward, he gave back. And he has like a beautiful family, children, grandchildren, colleagues who all spoke about the impact he had on them. And I do think it's like business. If you aren't super clear and ruthless about your priorities, and you don't think about it every day, you can quickly get sidetracked or stuck on things that aren't core to your mission and your purpose. And all of a sudden you've got a bunch of employees and customers who don't know exactly what you stand for. And all of a sudden you're spending the time on the wrong things that aren't, furthering your business. And I feel that way about life. I feel like there's value to attacking your life plan in a way that is more purposeful and more, like
This also
more.
allows you to show up in a better way. And I think, our environment, you can be someone who's very sensitive to their environment or not. And I happen to be one of those people. But I think also with the shift of not just obviously the grass is not always greener, but it's also, what is it all for? Right. Like you think about the way we're raising kids in the Northeast, and it's just like intense. And it's sort of like instead of the process of being in kindergarten or first grade, like it's not the schools necessarily, but the parents in that
Yeah,
environment are like, will this get them into
it's the
Harvard?
whole culture.
Will this get right? But like, who wants their kid to go to Harvard? I don't want my kid to go to Harvard. What, get a kafia? I mean, with their diploma? No, thank you.
Right. But I think what you're saying, and this has been, a long time in the making, is kids are being cheated of their childhood because they're starting to prep for their college
Adulthood
and
at
adulthood in
6.
kindergarten. And that is
Like, should they just
really,
get a
really
briefcase with their first
sad.
backpack?
But I also think I know you, and I think that you
I'm a tiger
will.
mom.
No, well, yes, on the one hand, but on the other hand, I also feel like you won't listen to the noise, and you will stick to your own value set and do what's right for your kids. So no matter where you are, I think your kids are protected by your lack of interest in like, or anxiety around what everybody else is doing around you. But I do think it's, cause I think I hope I'm like that, but I think
I think
it's,
you are.
I am, but it's impossible in New York City.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from you.
Because even if you don't, aspire to that as the goal, your kids are just
They're surrounded by
internalizing
it.
it everywhere. They're internalizing it from their peers, from their communities, from their teachers, from their just everything they hear, see, and do. And I don't know if any high achieving or, affluent community is any different than New York City, but I think
I think it has to be.
New York City is like always to the, X degree.
I just think I think it has to be, and I think I don't know. I think also you're just when you are in such a place that is so expensive to do anything. I kind of feel like New York City's become this place where, oh my God, sorry. That's my husband because I'm supposed to be somewhere. Jeremy, I'm just recording. Are you okay?
Take two
My timing?
of Jeremy on Mic'd.
We just had a delay. Can you give me like 15 more minutes? 20 more minutes? Maybe 30? Okay, I love
Thank
you.
you. So, look, I
don't know what that. Yeah, I just got totally thrown off.
No, but I think like we're talking about like what's the meaning of life? How do we?
By the way, are we
preserve,
like modern day philosophers? I feel like we're like we're sort of like hot
Sam Harris. We're like
no, I was thinking more like we're hot Plato.
Ooh.
We're like
Socrates.
We're like a sexy Plato, sexy Socrates, but like a little comedy in there. We're kind of like
we're like Larry David if he was a philosophy professor.
Oh my God.
But hot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, I think what was Eleanor Roosevelt who was an interesting woman who I think did like other women. She did. She did. She was. What's that movie where like Eleanor Roosevelt? What a rug muncher. What was the movie? Yes, I swear to God, it's from a movie.
Oh my God.
Is it from Wedding Crashers? I think it's Wedding Crashers when somebody brings up Eleanor Roosevelt and what a rug muncher.
That's hilarious.
Okay, I promise I will in the show notes I will include this movie. But she said something where, and I think this is why you and I bond so much, and this is why this is something I think New York has gone away from in the sense where I'm gonna circle back to Eleanor Roosevelt, where I think when I was growing up, the people in New York just seemed more cultured and interested and interesting versus trying to create these mini proteges or mini lawyers, mini doctors, mini this. It was sort of just more about the collective experience as a community. It's really shifted to something different. And I'm looking to be around people who, as Eleanor Roosevelt said, great minds discuss ideas, good minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. And I think New York City has kind of become filled with a lot of small minds in a weird way. I don't know what I'm thinking, or maybe it's just the world. And if everybody's going to be dumb or just talk about stupid stuff or talk about where their kids interning or what this or all the accolades, and I'm just going to go sit on the beach somewhere.
Right. I think that there is a underlying anxiety because we live in a world now where AI is here. Nobody knows what the job landscape is going to look like. Nobody knows if their children are going to be not only as, better off or as well off as them, but even able to make a living. And I think there is this sense of, especially among the high achieving people who live in New York City, and any of these, affluent areas, is like, how do we help set our kids up for success? So I think it comes from a good place in terms of like wanting your children to realize their potential, to do their best, and wanting to hope that they, have the security and the stability that you had. But I think what ends up happening is the anxiety like perverts it, and all of a sudden it's like we're no longer communities, we're like all competitors.
Right. That's what I sort of mean by that. And it's talking about, who's done what and has this person who has
but like even it, like even, kids being Teddy's age, people are in and out of the house, like helping kids do this or that. And I think that,
Or like
there was
sign up for camp already or do this. It's just, I don't know, everything. Or if you don't do this, your kid won't be that. There's a lot of that.
And I think the simplification for me also comes from like, it is like, I've had a headache for a week, and it might be related to the fact that I'm getting old and can't see, but
I think it's also related to that you've worn 4 different strains of contacts and refused to wear reading glasses and cannot read.
But, well, that was sort of what I meant by getting old in eyesight, but also that I every day have a new form I have to complete, or I'm being admonished. I'm being admonished that like I haven't done X, Y, or Z, and then I'm calling to make the appointments. I mean, your phone today is
phone is fucking
out
insane.
of fucking control.
It's out of control. I think it's like it's really. I'm sorry.
Your phone is picking up the planetary parade vibes for sure.
Or it's saying you're fucking insane. No, but can we just talk about when I was filling out the forms that I thought this was incredible?
Oh my God, I love this.
So I'm filling out the forms for one of my kids' schools. It's unbelievable. And it's like a list of medicines that the nurse could give your child. Okay. These are options. First one, Ozempic. Okay. What the fuck?
I think we have to come back to the Ozempic song at some point.
Obviously Ozempic, Ozempic, Wegovy, Manjaro, no more, say goodbye to sorrow. And my computer's saying low battery, which means I'm going to run and get a charger because clearly there's something. Mercury is definitely in Uranus right now. Hold on, pause, because I was actually really going to get something funny, but I got to pause. But we're going to leave it right back here where I got here. And it's going to say, just remind me about the medications that school wants. It's not just Ozempic, it's Klonopin.
So should we pause?
We can quick pause, or you can talk without me. Okay, so what I was saying is on the school form, it was like, okay, here are all the options for meds that we can administer during the day. So Ozempic is the first thing. The fuck? It's 1 shot a week. First of all, if your kid is in a kindergarten through 12th grade school in Manhattan, why the fuck are they on Ozempic and do it at home? Klonopin. Obviously, Adderall, Ritalin, Vyvanse, all the good drugs. And then it was like Proparol. What the fuck? Michael Jackson, the one that he got?
No.
Yeah, I swear to God. I was like, what is going on in New York City? Is this like a national thing? It was Dulcolax. That was a weird one. Like, are you giving a laxative at school? Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's insane. If you're constipated, don't tell the nurse.
And why are they still asking COVID questions?
I don't know. I didn't see any of those on the form. And then the most annoying thing is I do all this and I answer all the fucking questions. My kid has allergies, so it's a lot. And then you hit submit and it's like, no, like, nope, doesn't work. Like, go back to the red.
Oh, that drives me crazy. And then you can't figure out what you didn't.
I don't know what the fuck I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I should have said yes, that you can administer Dulcolax.
You probably have a box where you have to actually type in NA instead. Like,
I can't find that anywhere. I mean, I've looked.
I know it's
a nightmare. I can't deal with this. And then I have 2 kids, 2 separate schools, 2 separate fucking portals. I mean, it's like,
welcome to.
I don't know. I think they have to go to the same school.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I think you spent the summer with your kids together, getting on one bus, going to one camp.
Yep.
And I think in the city, it's a privilege, but it's also an albatross that you pick a school for each of your children. And the one school may not be the right fit for each of them. And all of a sudden you've got 3 kids at 3 different schools and you're running around
like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yeah.
I mean, as you would say, it's like a logistical gymnastics nightmare. And I think you're right. There's so much anxiety about going back to that because I wouldn't be happy having a life that was like without any challenge because I like challenges, but I think I have enough challenges in my own brain. And I think the more I quiet everything else, the more I can really excel and the more we can create and do, because when you have so much else going on, it's impossible.
Right. And I think there's something about this notion of community where when your kids are young, New York City is wonderful because you get in the elevator with the stroller and you walk to meet up with people. And I think by contrast, if you live somewhere where you drive, it's like you're schlepping your kid in and out of the car seat and you're setting up the stroller. But I think as they get older, and maybe I'm, glamorizing what it's like to live somewhere where you drive everywhere, but I have this memory of, you're one of multiple kids in the back of a car getting picked up from a, sports event, and there's a carpool, and one mom's driving home, one mom's driving there. And I think in the city, because people typically don't drive because it's a nightmare to find parking spots and all the other, that everyone's kind of every man for themselves. So you
Yeah.
got to do Ubers for your kid, or you got to get a car service, or you have a driver, but there's not that same feeling of you're working with the other moms in the grade or on the team to organize together how to do pickup drop off.
Right. And also, like, I don't even want to have to deal with the moms to organize because they're also fucking nuts. They're like, I'm sorry, but it's like, I'm probably the most nuts in terms of safety and neuroticism, but it's like, oh, have you not filled out this form? Have you not done this? And I'm like, no, I haven't. But at the same time, I also organize like gymnastics and ballet and a million activities. So I'm kind of a walking oxymoron.
But I would say I've actually learned this probably way too late in life, but it is so much easier to do the form on time than to be late. Like
We're back to the forms.
If I just scheduled the doctor appointment and then did the forms, it would be much easier than waiting until I'm being screamed at or told my kid can't start school. And then I can't get in to see the doctor. And then the form
because everybody's already booked a million. How did you get this far in New York City? I mean, I'm being honest. Like, I made one mistake of when my son starts school, and I had the orthodontist appointment in the middle of the day on his actual first day. And I called, and they're like, no, I'm sorry, we cannot see him until he's 12, like, but I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, can you squeeze me in?
Dead serious.
And they're dead serious. And I don't know how, and I'm very proactive. I had the appointment. It was just for the day that he started school.
I know.
So
I know.
you must be an absolute
that's
failure.
The other problem. Every time you think you're planning in advance, the day comes and you realize it's like the one day that you can't do it or can't be in the city for the appointment.
No, I mean, it's Murphy's Law.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it all this time. I do think that for me, as a working mom, that was my salve. I think it kept me organized and busy in the office, and therefore I had really good perspective on everything else. And I think when your full-time job, one of the core responsibilities of your full-time job is like the forms, it feels inane. But when you work full-time and getting those forms done is like, the flea on the rat's ass, like you don't care. It's such a small, insignificant piece of everything you're managing.
Amazing expression. I've never actually heard that.
Really?
The flea on the rat's ass? That's
amazing.
Very tiny.
Wait, but that's
wait,
what
hold
I
on,
mean.
hold on. I want to just talk about, we're philosophers. I want to talk about the flea on the rat's ass right now.
Oh yeah, a friend of mine used to always say that.
It's amazing. Because I've always heard a rat's ass.
Yes.
Or a flying fuck. And actually, this is funny. I'm going to go back to my brother, Phil, who was amazing on his episode this summer. He really fucks up like those sayings. Like he would never, and he was like, I don't give a flying rat's ass. And I was like, or a flying rat or whatever it was. And I'm like, it's a rat's ass or a flying fuck. It's not a flying rat's ass. Just the imagery of a flying rat's ass is amazing.
Right.
But I am now going to use, it's like a flea on a rat's ass. It's amazing.
Well, you're welcome.
Wow. If we could give you anything.
But seriously, I think that's like also the what do they say? If you want something done, give it to the busiest person. There's something about when I was working full time where like everything was easier. It's why the student athlete does their homework in a more kind of timely, easy
but how
fashion.
Much fun is it to be
than the person who comes home after school and doesn't have a sport till 7 p.m.
Well, you know what? I have to tell you that I agree with that. I did not have a sport till 7 p.m. and I spent many hours watching TV.
But it's why you're so amazing
I
now.
know,
And you can quote every movie and TV show. In fact,
so
weren't we talking about a TV show as we were discussing this episode?
Were we?
I thought we were. Can't remember now.
So were we talking?
Or a movie?
I know we were talking. We kind of were talking about This Is 40. What movie were we talking about? Wait, did I write it down?
I'm not.
It wasn't
sure.
Robert. You know what we were talking about? We were talking about karma, which was, I know this is kind of nuts, but we were talking about. You had me laughing. We were kind of prepping for this episode, and why did we talk about Schadenfreude?
Oh, just that it's almost like when you have a zero-sum game. So like if you're living somewhere where it feels like there's too few spots for people and you're not in sort of a environment of abundance where like you can make a lot of mistakes and you're still going to be just fine, that you, it's hard to be happy for like I think there's some people's orientation is like, if other people are failing, then that means I'm doing better. And I think this is like a universal thing. Whereas I think the real win in life is to like celebrate everyone's success. Cause I think if you surround yourself with people who are smarter, better, more successful, and if you lift people up and celebrate them, like that, that will make you happier and thereby you'll be more successful.
See, I don't give a shit about other
Versus
people.
if you sort of secretly feel like, oh, like that person didn't do well, so that means like
You don't have
there's
any
fewer
Schadenfreude
there's
for
less
anybody?
competition. I'm not really built that way.
So I'm not either, but I am, I don't know. It's not Schadenfreude, but I am motivated to be very successful in this podcast by anybody who has shit talked us. Shit talked us? Is that a how do you
like
pass
you're
tense it?
grateful for that Schadenfreude because that means they're listening to us.
Well, yeah, kind of. No. I want to. I hope that we become successful to piss them off. So I don't know if that's shade. It's not Schadenfreude, but
I think that's like proving people wrong. Like you want to, and I think this is a motivator.
Yeah, and I wouldn't care if they're, but I don't really care about their life. I don't wish them harm. I just know they're going to have like boring lives. I don't wish anything bad upon them because I also think anybody who actually has Schadenfreude is a really fucked up person because you should just be happy for other people and be happy.
Absolutely.
And my mom always said, and I think I've said this before, that women who are good friends with you are not there when things are bad, but it's when they are good. Yeah. Because if a woman can, if like, let's say your friend is single, they wants to get married, and she can happily celebrate you finding your husband or celebrating that is a real woman who doesn't believe there's room for only one person to have a good life. And there's a lot of women who are just miserable.
It's so interesting because I had heard that phrase a few times and I didn't really get it, but I completely get it now. And that's sort of coming back to what I was saying about like celebrate each other's successes. And I think in the workplace too, women get a bad rap sometimes, with, good reason that like, women don't support each other enough in the workplace. And that actually like oftentimes the women feel again, because they're operating from a zero sum perspective that like another woman's success means less room for them. Whereas actually we all need to be each other's champions and lifting each other up because we all have to support each other so there can be more women in senior ranks.
Right. But also like you have to be the right woman to get the job. Like I think we should stop. Hold on. What did I just say? I'm having a brain fart. Have you ever used that phrase?
You're saying you're saying like the best man for the job should get it. I agree.
Yeah. Which is a great expression. Another reason to leave New York is I feel like my white Jewish kid is going to be fucked. And they're like, fuck you. You're not getting an internship. Did you buy that?
Well, more broadly than his profile, I do think it's so funny when you have a kid applying to college, and my son's a sophomore in college. So when he was, and I actually have now a rising senior in high school.
That's crazy that you have
It's crazy. Senior. But when, you start getting all of these crazy emails and all these marketers are trying to prey on your anxiety to get you to sign up. It's like, oh, we can help your son or daughter build a passion project that will get them
in New York. You're
Harvard.
like, I started that in 4th grade. I've been planning for this since my child was in utero.
Right. But I'll never forget. It was like a woman and she's like, so a lot of people are asking, should I move to a different state to increase my kids' chances of getting into college? I'm like,
that's retarded.
Who the heck are these people who actually like are going to orient their life around like where their kids go to college? But and then the best was her answer was like, maybe it depends. And she went on to say that like, if you live in like New York City or the East Coast, you have a harder chance than if you live in Florida or Idaho or other places.
Idaho, no, Idaho. Sorry, I always
Uranus, my anus.
I always have to ring a
Wait,
little
what's the
levity.
Uranus joke? I like that joke.
I think it's just when Mercury, people are like Mercury's in retrograde, and my husband would just be like, "No, Mercury's in Uranus." It's not really funny.
Oh, you mean like if you have a fever and they put a thermometer in?
What? Oh, because of Mercury in the thermometer?
Right.
No, I'm just like the planet Mercury in
Oh.
retrograde. Wow, I don't even understand what I got. I got that brain connection, but that's not what I meant.
Oh, no, it's just the joke is just your anus.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. I mean, like as a kid, you could laugh forever in science class.
Oh,
when
wait,
you're
do you think
talking
that
about the
is what it is?
planets.
Mercury in Uranus? Like Mercury from a thermometer?
I don't know.
Wait, holy shit, I think you could be
All I
right.
can
Holy
say-
shit, no pun intended.
All I can
Wait,
say
I think you're right.
is I forever believe that's the best way to check someone's temperature. So people can't believe
I don't
want
wanna be your kid.
still use the Tushy thermometer.
With the Vaseline?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like my childhood nightmares. I have to do that. That's horrible. I don't care if the ear thing doesn't work. Just don't shove it
that
in my
might
ass.
be why the school's asking about Dukalax.
I mean, right. In the old days, the nurse would just stick the thermometer in Uranus.
Oh my God, but that brings me back to the song. We did an exercise class this morning and it was amazing. Can we give a shout out to Torch?
Isaac Boots from Torch. He is fucking hilarious.
Oh my God.
He's like,
the
move
best.
that booty. And like, like we were doing something where your neck was hurting. He goes, don't strain your neck here. Save that for home. Save that for later.
But what did he say? What was the song?
Oh, it was about Ozempic, and it was like Ozempic, Manjaro. No, Ozempic, Wegovy, Manjaro. Say goodbye to all your sorrows. Being like, who cares about your face? I just want a tiny waist.
And then it said something
then I
about
was
a
like,
pencil.
yeah, you used to wanted to be a pencil, and now you're just the lead.
That was the best part.
And it was like, all you want to do is be thin. Thin. Winning is being thin. It was amazing. All right, so should we? Sorry.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.